Imagine someone telling you, "You're just too nice for your own good." But what if that compliment is a chain, binding you in a web of manipulation? In the shadows of human interactions, kindness isn't always pure. Sometimes it's a weapon disguised as virtue, luring the empathetic into traps they never see coming. This investigation peels back the layers of toxic goodness, revealing how being too good can silently erode your autonomy, leaving you questioning your own reality. It starts subtly, with a friend or lover who seems to admire your generosity, but slowly their requests multiply, turning your virtue into a vulnerability. You give and give until there's nothing left, all while they smile, praising your saintly nature. The danger lies in the unseen erosion of self, where boundaries dissolve like mist in the morning sun. Picture a young woman named Emily, always the first to offer help, her heart open like a book. One day, her colleague praises her endlessly. "Emily, you're such a saint. Without you, this place would fall apart." Yet, beneath those words lies a calculated ploy, overloading her with tasks while he slacks off, exploiting her inability to say no. This isn't mere coincidence. It's a classic maneuver in dark psychology, where predators spot the overly agreeable and turn their virtues against them. Researchers from Harvard University have delved into this, showing how agreeable personalities score high on the Big Five traits, but often suffer from burnout and resentment. Emily feels the weight, her smiles fading into exhaustion. Yet she pushes on, trapped by the fear of seeming unkind. What drives this? It's the guilt trap. Manipulators instill a sense that refusing help equates to betrayal, rewiring the victim's moral compass. In everyday life, this plays out in relationships. A partner who constantly borrows money, framing it as, "You care about me, right?" The good-hearted give in, only to find themselves financially drained, their boundaries blurred. Digging deeper, studies from the American Psychological Association highlight how chronic people-pleasers exhibit elevated cortisol levels, the stress hormone eating away at their health. Imagine the internal monologue. "If I say no, they'll think I'm selfish." This whisper becomes a roar, silencing assertiveness. But wait, there's a flip side. Recognizing this pattern sparks the first crack in the facade. Through observational lenses, we see how toxic kindness fosters codependency, where one party's goodness feeds the other's laziness or entitlement. Take the case of historical figures. Even in literature, characters like Charles Dickens's Uriah Heep use false humility to manipulate, mirroring real-world con artists who prey on the benevolent. Shocking, isn't it? Modern examples abound. Social media influencers who guilt-trip followers into donations, masking greed with pleas of, "You're my supportive family." The viewer nods, recalling that uneasy feeling after clicking donate. To understand the mechanics, consider reciprocity bias, Robert Cialdini's principle where favors create an unspoken debt, compelling repayment even when unbalanced. Manipulators exploit this, offering minimal help, then demanding mountains in return. Emily's colleague started with coffee runs, escalating to covering shifts, all under the guise of teamwork. Suddenly, she's working overtime without pay, her niceness now a liability. This investigation uncovers the subtle signs, constant compliments on your kindness, paired with increasing requests, leaving you depleted. It's not about being bad, It's about boundaries, those invisible shields that protect the soul. Without them, the toxic kind become emotional vampires, sucking energy dry. Stanford experiments on conformity reveal how groups pressure the agreeable into compliance, amplifying this trap in workplaces or families. Feel that chill? That's the recognition hitting home. And it extends to volunteer work, where organizers overload the willing, praising their dedication while ignoring burnout signals. The cycle continues, goodwill twisted into obligation. Delving further into the psyche, consider the origins of this vulnerability. Many too good individuals stem from upbringings where praise hinged on self-sacrifice, conditioning them to equate worth with usefulness. Therapists observe this in sessions. Clients recount childhoods filled with "be a good girl" mantras, now manifesting as adult exploitation. Astonishingly, a study from the University of California found that overly altruistic people report higher instances of abusive relationships, their empathy weaponized against them. Visualize a scenario. A friend repeatedly cancels plans last minute, yet you forgive, thinking they're going through a tough time. Months later, resentment builds. You've become their emotional crutch, your needs ignored. This is gaslighting in disguise, where your kindness is reframed as obligation. Psychological breakdowns show how narcissists seek out empaths, using love bombing, excessive affection, to hook them, then devaluing once secured. The good person stays, hoping to fix things, trapped in a cycle of hope and despair. Real-life anecdotes flood forums. Anonymous posts detail bosses who praise employees' dedication while denying raises, exploiting loyalty. One user shared, "I was told I'm irreplaceable, yet treated like disposable." The emotional toll? Anxiety spikes, self-doubt creeps in, eroding confidence. To counter this, awareness is key. Journaling interactions reveals patterns of one-sided giving. Empowerment begins here, shifting from passive goodness to assertive kindness. But manipulators adapt. They use pity plays like feigned vulnerability to elicit sympathy. "I can't do this without you," they sigh, pulling heartstrings. Resist the urge, it's a snare. Interestingly, evolutionary psychology suggests this stems from tribal survival, where helping kin ensured reciprocity. But in modern anonymity, it's abused. Urban tales illustrate scam artists posing as needy strangers preying on passers-by's goodwill. The victim feels foolish, trust shattered. Yet, this investigation isn't about paranoia. It's about discernment, spotting genuine need versus calculated drain. Mindfulness practices, backed by Johns Hopkins research, help rebuild boundaries, fostering healthier interactions. As we probe deeper, the layers unfold. Toxic kindness in parenting, where overprotecting children creates entitled adults, perpetuating the cycle. Parents think they're helping, but they're handicapping resilience. Shocking revelations from child psychology journals confirm this, linking helicopter parenting to anxiety disorders. The child grows, mirroring the pattern, becoming either manipulator or manipulated. Schools see it too. Students who always share answers, only to be used by peers, learning hard lessons in trust. Educators intervene, teaching reciprocity early. Now, Let's examine the workplace dynamics, where toxic goodness thrives unchecked. Colleagues label you team player, but it's code for do my work. A report from the Society for Human Resource Management notes that agreeable employees are promoted less, their efforts overlooked as expected. Why? Because they don't advocate, fearing conflict. This breeds quiet quitting, internal disengagement while outwardly compliant. In romantic entanglements, it's deadlier. Partners who use "you're so understanding" to justify infidelity or neglect. The good-hearted rationalize "everyone makes mistakes," delaying escape. Attachment theory explains this. Secure attachments foster healthy bonds, but anxious ones cling to toxicity. Pioneered by John Bowlby, this framework reveals how early bonds shape adult vulnerabilities. Eye-opening, right? Recovery stories inspire. One woman, after years of enabling an alcoholic spouse, sought therapy, learning to prioritize self-care. Her transformation? From doormat to empowered, setting ultimatums that forced change. But beware, the manipulator's backlash, accusations of selfishness designed to reel you back. Cognitive behavioral techniques arm against this, reframing guilt as a false alarm. Social experiments like those from Yale demonstrate how authority figures exploit compliance, echoing Milgram's obedience studies. Participants shocked learners on command, mirroring how bosses push ethical boundaries. The good employee complies, internal conflict brewing. Health consequences mount: insomnia, depression, even somatic symptoms like headaches. A holistic view ties this to the autonomic nervous system, where chronic stress shifts to fight-or-flight mode perpetually. Meditation apps endorsed by neuroscience offer respite, recalibrating responses. Imagine reclaiming power, saying no without apology, watching manipulators falter. Yet the trap persists in friendships, the perpetual listener, absorbing dramas without reciprocation. Energy vampires, they're called, leaving you empty. Online communities buzz with advice, audit relationships, tally give and take. Revelations hit, imbalances glare. In cultural contexts, collectivist societies amplify this, where individual needs bow to group harmony. Asian proverbs warn of excessive humility, inviting exploitation. Balancing act required. Kindness without self-loss. Professional networks suffer too. Mentors overburdened by mentees who take without giving back. Boundaries redefine mentorship as mutual growth. Unraveling further, consider the digital age's twist on toxic kindness. Social media amplifies it. Influencers guilt followers with "if you care, share," turning empathy into engagement metrics. Users scroll, liking causes blindly, unaware of underlying scams. A BuzzFeed investigation exposed fake charity accounts preying on goodwill. The algorithm favors emotional content, trapping users in echo chambers of obligation. Comment sections overflow with "you're heartless if you don't repost." This digital manipulation mirrors offline tactics, eroding critical thinking. Cybersecurity experts advise verification, check sources before donating time or money. In virtual relationships, catfishing thrives on kindness. Fraudsters build trust with sob stories, then request funds. Victims, often lonely empaths, lose thousands, hearts broken. FBI reports detail spikes in romance scams, targeting the compassionate. Healing involves community support, groups where survivors share, rebuilding trust. Empowerment tools, apps tracking interactions, flagging imbalances. But let's zoom out to societal levels. Governments using propaganda framing taxes as civic duty, while misallocating funds. Citizens comply, kindness to country exploited. Historical analyses like those on wartime efforts show how appeals to patriotism manipulated masses. World War II posters urged sacrifice, masking ulterior motives. Today, echo in political campaigns, vote for the greater good, sidelining personal scrutiny. Voter education counters this, question motives, demand transparency. Startling parallels in cults. Leaders exploit followers' goodness, promising enlightenment for devotion. Jonestown tragedy exemplifies. Hundreds died, manipulated by false benevolence. Psychological autopsies reveal charisma's role in overriding doubt. Prevention. Cultivate skepticism alongside empathy. The journey from victim to vigilant sparks inner strength. In education, teachers face this. Overworked by "think of the children" rhetoric, salaries stagnant. Unions fight back, reframing as self-advocacy. Students learn too, group projects where one carries the load, breeding resentment. Early intervention teaches boundary setting. As our probe continues, patterns emerge. Toxic kindness as a control mechanism, subtle yet pervasive. Even in hobbies, like gaming guilds, leaders delegate chores to loyal members. Fun turns to fatigue without reciprocity. Probing the neurological underpinnings, brain scans from functional MRI studies illuminate how empathy circuits light up in agreeable individuals, overriding self-preservation. The anterior cingulate cortex buzzes with conflict when saying no, mimicking physical pain. This explains the visceral discomfort in refusing. It's wired in. Neuroscientists at MIT link this to mirror neurons, firing when observing others' needs, compelling action. Manipulators hijack this, feigning distress to activate responses. Therapy rewires. Exposure techniques desensitize guilt. Mindfulness-based stress reduction, developed at the University of Massachusetts, proves effective. Participants report freedom, kindness now chosen, not compelled. In business, sales tactics exploit this. Limited time offers, pressuring purchases under helping the economy. Consumers buy impulsively, regretting later. Consumer protection laws aim to curb, but awareness is frontline defense. Case studies from behavioral economics, like Daniel Kahneman's work, show loss aversion amplifying pressure. "Don't miss out" translates to "be kind to future self." Twisted. Ethical marketers avoid, but dark ones thrive. Personal finance gurus advise pause, wait 24 hours before committing. Family dynamics intensify. Siblings using "blood is thicker" to demand favors. The dutiful comply. Family harmony facade cracking. Counselors facilitate dialogues, uncovering resentments. Resolutions bring authenticity. Bonds strengthening. Globally, aid organizations sometimes perpetuate dependency, helping, masking control. Anthropological reviews critique Western interventions in developing nations. Locals, empowered through education, escape cycles. Sustainable development shifts focus to self-reliance. In art, films like The Talented Mr. Ripley depict manipulators exploiting kindness, audiences relating. Catharsis through viewing. Recognition heals. Critics decry glorification, but insight outweighs. Literature offers antidotes. Self-help books like Boundaries by Henry Cloud, teaching scriptural yet practical no's. Readers transform. Testimonials flooding. Yet relapse lurks. Old habits die hard. Ongoing practice solidifies change. Our investigation reveals the spectrum, from mild impositions to severe abuse, all rooted in unchecked goodness. Environmental causes exploit too, campaigns guilting for donations, ignoring corporate polluters. Activists redirect energy effectively. As we near the core, consider the self-inflicted trap. Internal toxic kindness, where one manipulates oneself. Perfectionists demand impossible standards, being good meaning never erring. This leads to procrastination paralysis, fear of failure halting action. Cognitive psychologists term it all-or-nothing thinking, distorting reality. Affirmations counter. Progress over perfection. Inner critics rage, but compassion quiets. Self-compassion research by Kristen Neff shows reduced anxiety. Practitioners flourish. Kindness inward first. In healthcare, patients endure pain silently, not wanting to bother staff. Outcomes worsen. Advocacy lacking. Patient rights movements empower voicing needs. Hospitals train empathy, balancing care. Elderly face isolation. Too good to ask for visits, suffering quietly. Community programs bridge, encouraging outreach. Technology aids, apps connecting generations. Sports arenas see it. Athletes pushing injuries, team spirit masking harm. Coaches exploit, careers shortened. Reforms prioritize health. Victories sweeter with boundaries. Environmental activism twists, guilting individuals for systemic issues. Be good, recycle more. Corporations shift blame, profits untouched. Activists redirect focus upward. Informed action empowers. Spirituality realms, gurus demanding blind faith, good disciples obey. Scandals expose exploitation. Seekers find authentic paths. Enlightenment through discernment. Gaming worlds simulate. NPCs manipulating player kindness for quests. Gamers learn virtual lessons, applying real. Toxic communities banish exploiters. Balance restores fun. Literature evolves. Modern tales heroize boundary setters. Readers inspired. Yet media sensationalizes victims. Shift narratives empower. Our deep dive exposes roots, branches of toxic goodness, urging vigilance. In therapy groups, sharing stories dissolves isolation, fostering collective healing. Online courses teach assertiveness, turning knowledge into action. Reflecting on this psychological labyrinth, one truth emerges. True kindness thrives with boundaries, protecting giver and receiver alike. To shield oneself, practice assertive communication. Phrases like, "I appreciate your trust, but I can't commit right now," disarm without offense. Awareness breeds strength. Spot the signs early. Reclaim your power. Remember, being good doesn't mean being a martyr. It's about mutual respect. If these shadows resonate, echoing in your life or loves, break the silence. Share this video. Illuminate the path for others trapped in similar webs. In our next exploration, we uncover how manipulation survivors seize back their narratives, turning pain into purpose. Subscribe now to witness the rebirth. Your journey to balanced kindness starts today. Embrace it with open eyes.